And there was an incident with Steve Hefford, and I think this is where it all kicked off. He come over. Did Hefford go to him? No, Samson went to him, and then it was just hello. Two they go now as well. And there was an incident with Steve Hefford, and I think this is where it all kicked off. He come over. Did Hefford go to him? No, Samson went to him, and then it was just.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to Sunday night action. It's time for iGPFun Super Formula Light Season 1, Round 8 here at the Circuito de Jerez and Angel Nieto. You're joining two voices that you'll know here on the JP Broadcasting Network, who are here tonight for this fantastic 30-lap extravaganza. Coming to the end of time qualifying, my name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm going to be joined by Dean Biggles in the broadcast booth. But more to the point, we are pretty much most of the way through this season. But there's a little bit of housekeeping. Let's have a look at the championship standings coming into round number 8. Lee Aberdeen leads on 297 points, ahead of Brent Ruiz on 272. Luca Varani, one of the main people behind this league, rounds out the top 3 on 259. Ludovic Ranson rounds out 4th ahead of Antonio Jimenez. Andy Flint, Jesper Sandstrom, Dennis Cornu, Simon Fessi and Mackenzie Roon round out the top 10 in the standings, covered by 100 points. Edward Amos, Adam Talsma, Joseph Lucas, Ben Goyet and Adrian Centurion round out the top 15, with Giovanni Celito, Dorian Arroyo, Yunus Amal and Daniel Vogel, along with Bart Jan van der Laan rounding out the top 20. We are coming towards the end of the qualifying session here, and Lee Aberdeen so far this season has had 5 pole positions, and it looks with qualifying set to conclude momentarily. It won't be a 6th pole position because the number 11, Tony Jimenez, has pretty much taken the top spot in this one for the 8th round out of 12 for this championship season. Some drivers still circulating, including Jimenez, including Aberdeen, including Robert Tilbury, who's gone into the pits. Alexis de Klerk down in 18th. Adam Talsma, 26th. Giovanni Celito, 28th. Dorian Arroyo rounding out the top 34. Does the Mexican in the number 2 car. There you see the air and track temperatures. 20 degrees air temperature, 22 degrees track. It's going to be... the server time is set at 9th of February, 11:10 in the morning, and, 10 kilometre an hour wind. And with that, Mr. Biggles, are you with us, good sir?
Good evening, good evening. I am certainly with everybody here this evening tuning in. Thank you very much for your support for this fantastic racing league. It's been around for donkey's years and will continue to be around for a long time. The hometown hero, of course, Tony Jimenez, will be putting that on pole because I think their qualifying session is wrapping up at the moment. So he's got the support of the local Spaniards here, and let's see whether or not he can deliver on that one. Just pipping out my Aussie buddy there, Lee. And we have another Aussie as well, too, on the grid of Roberto. He'll be in P4 position. And then you got a bit of a mix of drivers, all nationalities around the globe.
Yeah, so with regards to the briefing that the drivers have had, no active overtakes until after Sito Pons at turn 5. Passing's not going to be easy, so between turn 5 and turn 6, which is Sito Pons to Pedrosa, I've also been told, always remember to keep 2 wheels fully on track within the white line on corner entry. Also, 3 wide situations on lap 1 have been told to be avoided. But here is the starting grid. 38 cars here at the Jerez circuit. We're going to be using the MotoGP layout, and Tony Jimenez starts on pole position. Lee Aberdeen, the current championship leader, lines up alongside on the front row. Brent Ruiz and Robert Tilbury on row 2. Jacob Olszewski and Adrian Fernandez Centurion rounds out the top 6. Yunus Amal, the Moroccan, will be joined by France's Ludovic Ranson on row 4. Dennis Cornu and Simon Fessi make it an all-French row 5. Alex Sevillano and Stefan Dodra round out row 6. Bahadin Ayan and Bart Jan van der Laan round out row 7. Jonathan Cazoria and Andy Flint round out row 8. Luca Varani and Alexis de Klerk round out row 9. Completing the top 20 cars on the grid will be Jeremy Hagenauer and Clark Williams. Row 11, Joseph Lucas and the Welsh wonder that is Eddie Amos in the number 69. Richard Van Veen and Jacques Willems will be on row number 12. Row 13, so we turn another page on the grid here. John McKenzie and Adam Townsman round out row 13. Ben Goyet and Giovanni Celito next up on row 14, with Fran and Guinness Carvajal round out the top 30. As I said, 38 cars on the grid. Theodore Tomor, Oscar Artinano, Matthew Gracie, Dorian Arroyo, Austin Baldwin, Didier Savard, Joshua Edwards, and Sean Pulsifier round out the 38-strong grid. It's going to be a 30-lap race, total distance of 132.6 kilometres. So Fran Carvajal and Brent Ruiz are the last two drivers set to ready up on the grid. Thank you to everyone that's currently watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. There's plenty of racing action still to come. So Ruiz and Fran Carvajal will be in the pit lane as the lights go out here for 30 laps here at Jerez. And now, well, Barney the flag marshal waving the green flag on the start-finish straight as Jimenez leads Aberdeen into turn number 1 at Expo 92 on the run down to Michelin. And they're going to be all line astern, no active overtakes until turn number 5 at Sito Pons. They go through the complex here, the double left at turns 3 and 4. So, more to the point. Well, Brent Ruiz and Fran Carvajal did not make it onto the grid in time, so both of them will have to do a bit of a top gear from the rear as they go through the opening sector out of 4. Jimenez leads, Aberdeen and Tilbury round out the top 3, and Lee Aberdeen dives to the inside of Tony Jimenez as the pair go wheel to wheel for the briefest of moments. Now into what will be turn 7 and 8 at the last of those two corners, known as Aspar, and then into Angel Nieto, a former motorbike world champion who tragically lost his life, and the circuit was posthumously named after the Spaniard, Pelequi, and then Creville is the next corner up, someone kicking up the dust. But at the minute here, Dean, everyone's keeping things ship-shape in Bristol fashion. A little bit of a battle heading into the final couple of corners. They're going to head through into Lorenzo, and Aberdeen and Jimenez briefest side to side for the moment. Jimenez switches to the outside over the line to complete the opening lap, and it's less than a tenth between the top two, with Tilbury rounding out third.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic battle. So good driving from just about everybody in the field, as you mentioned. This is not over. There's battle here because Tony Jimenez, of course, has got the crowd favour. You can hear him cheering every single corner he goes past. Fighting tooth and nail. Lee is to continue to this P1 position after gaining it off there. And, of course, we did see, unfortunately, Brett dropping 34 places, not getting on the grid in time.
Yeah, so 36 out of 38 starters from our drivers in qualifying. Bit of a shame for Brent Ruiz and Fran Carvajal. Meantime, Olejewski and Tilbury wheel to wheel. An attempted dive there from Tony Jimenez. Bahadin Ayan gets past Jan van der Lam. However, in the background, Austin Baldwin and Joshua Edwards, the 15 and the 24, have come into a little bit of strife. Edwards is in pit lane, and now Lee Aberdeen looking to start to pull a gap. Has got the half-second lead over Tony Jimenez. What have we seen? What have we caught in the background there, Biggles?
There's somebody going off in the background just up the road there. That's Tony. That's Tony.
Jimenez. Oh, dearie me. He's dropped it all the way down to 8th, but there's still quite a few laps remaining, and Jimenez will dive into the pit lane. Looks like he might have...
No.
He's overshot the pit lane entrance. Madre de Dios, as the Spanish would say. And Jimenez, from pole, has a big old foal from Grace. Meantime, Adrian Fernandez is getting his elbows out and is trying to put one up on the Moroccan, number 34, Yunus Amal, who has made up 3 spots so far in this race. So we're on to lap 3 out of 30, running on board with Bahadin Ayan in the number 30, who's got the fastest lap of the race, looking for a move on Alex Sevillano, just up ahead in the number 88. This is the battle for P10 on the road. Someone just ahead has gone off big time, and that was behind them. That was Van der Lam, I believe, who's got Cazorla looking up the inside, and so is Andy Flint. Cazorla looking for the move on Van der Lam. Might have just got the switch back, but the next corner is going to be a left-hander, so the driver, based from Scandinavia, doesn't make sure whether it's Norway, Sweden or Denmark there, but Van der Laan keeping ahead at the moment of Cazorla, who's got the inside line for the next right-hander, gets through, and there's a multi-car incident in front. Ayan is off. Who else? Van der Laan is off. Oh, dearie me, the cat has been put amongst the pigeons.
It's a lot of action happening early. We'll go back and look at those replays as soon as it sorts itself out. When it will sort itself out, hopefully, my friend. As we're going absolutely fanatical here in a 30-lap race. Everybody sees an opportunity. Here we go, Luca. The triple two machine, down turn 1.
Yeah, looking to get a move on the number 28 from France, Alexis de Clercq, and could look at the inside at Michelin. Luca holds back, someone off in the background, a little bit further back coming out of turn number 2 at Michelin, but who has Varani got behind him? That is Jeremy Hagenauer, the number 147. So Luca Varani is the prospective meat in a French sandwich at the moment on Spanish soil. Riding on board with our third place driver, Jakub Olejewski from Poland, the number 57. Denis Cornu looking for a move up the inside of Adrian Fernandez, has got the move done briefly, but Fernandez retakes the position. And right behind them is Ludovic Hanson, Simon Fessy in the background in 8th place. Biggest mover so far has been Alexis de Clercq, who's moved up from 18th on the grid on the opening 3.5 or so laps. Celito and Van der Laan have come into strife, and there is Van der Laan backwards onto the gravel. And there is Celito rejoining, waiting for all the traffic to go by. So the Italian, who started 28th, now drops down to 31st. As Hagenauer looks for a move up the inside of Varani. He nearly went into the back of the 222, and the crossover happens. Varani's going to go and try and see if he can get the move done, but it's a right-hander coming up. They go underneath the main tower. And the slight UFO, the saucer, the UFO saucer. I keep on thinking Men in Black and Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith will appear all of a sudden. But Varani keeps the move for the moment, ahead of Hagenauer with Williams, Lucas Sevillano, Amos, Mackenzie, and that is Richard Van Veen rounding out the top 20. Jack Willems battling away with Adam Talsma, I believe.
Carter, you're right.
And,
Carter, you're right. Whoa!
No. And we've had Airborne and the Robbie Gordon tribute band. Jack Willems gets punted big time and has major damage. And that would have been, Adam Talsma, the Canadian, in the number 7 car. Let's have a look at the overhead. So Adam Talsma tags him and rides over the engine box, and Talsma's got 3 wheels on that wagon. Left front is completely adrift from the steering and the suspension, and Jack Willems unfortunately is also in pit road. And here is Adrian Fernandez Centurion for the SRP Racing team, one of the teammates of Tony Jimenez, who is now up into 11th position, 32nd position, having started from pole. But it's an Aussie 1-2. Lee Aberdeen leading Robert Tilbury by just under 1.5 seconds, as we're on lap 6 out of 30 here, Biggles. Talk about frantic action here at Jerez. I didn't expect Jimenez to go and bin it and then overshoot into pit lane entry, and then all of a sudden we had that massive incident between Talsma and Willems.
Couple of moments too we'll go back and have a look at exactly what Aussie 1-2 oi forgot to say after the end of that one. Kicking up some dust. They're throwing these super formulas around this track absolutely everywhere. We'll go back to Den here. I was going to say that Adrian Fernandez Centurion has a fantastic name, so he'll struggle a little bit to put that one on some of the paperwork when you fill it out.
I'm sure that when he has to go to the Spanish ASN to renew his race license every year, they'll go, you have a very, very long name, my friend. It goes like, it comes with the territory of the family
enough spaces
lineage.
Yeah, we go back for
Probably got to sort of try and write it very, very small indeed. Clark Williams is stuck between Joseph Lucas and Alex Sevillano. Sevillano kicks up the dust as we ride on board with the Hydro Race Racing Forces number 88. Started in 11th, currently down 6 places, having started in 11th place, now currently in 17th. Could it be 16th by the next left-hander with a little bit of left-hand down camber? Not quite there, as they come out of Lorenzo, of course, named after multi-time MotoGP world champion Jorge Lorenzo, who these days works as a pundit and an advisor within the MotoGP paddock.
Whoa.
So
Quite
we go to a replay here. This is Austin Baldwin. Oh dear, Austin.
Oh.
And there was someone else downstairs that went spearing off, exit stage right, nose end into the barriers, and that would have been Joshua Edwards. And, well, oh, that's a hard hit. Very much the Sebastian Buemi condition with the front wheels hanging off the car. Well, Sebastian Buemi, when he was running with Toro Rosso, when he braked, the front wheels just pinged off and went exit stage left and right in rapid succession. And we got Ali in chat going, "Hi lads." Hello Ali, thank you for joining us. And for those who are watching, please show who you're supporting here in this particular race. We're on lap 7 out of 30. Joseph Lucas, the Floridian, in the number 79, closing in on Alex Sevillano from Spain in the number 88. Clark Williams not too far ahead of them in the number 98. But the battle for second and third really heating up. Olejewski closing in on Tilbury. Gap between them 3.5 tenths of a second as they complete lap 7, go on to lap 8. We're nearly at a third distance, and Varani has been passed by Hagenauer coming out of Lorenzo, the final corner here at the circuit. And now Luca might have the opportunity. He's going to get the side draft here, heading into Expo 92, and neat as you like, Varani retakes the position, but gives enough room for Hagenauer to pull alongside now into Michelin. They've got Clark Williams closing in. That's going to bring in the likes of Alex Sevillano, Joseph Lucas, Eddie Amos, Hagenauer and Varani playing musical chairs at the minute. And Clark Williams says, "Oh, there's a nice little battle in front. Don't mind if I do make it 2's company, 3's a crowd."
I'd like to make sure that there's a chair still remaining too when you're playing musical chairs at the end of the game. It doesn't really work that way. Let's have a look. Clark Williams, as you said, we're running on board, seeing that nice battle. You can see he gets the power down now. The rear end just wants to slide out on him. Fantastic battles. I still want to go back and have a look at Tony Jimenez's moment. He might be selling some autographs down there, but he's running. Just gets past, actually, the Canadian driver. Moves his way back up to 26, losing 25 places at the moment after putting the car on pole in front of his home crowd. Got a bit of work to do. Up 8.
Yeah, got through on the number 27 of Canada's Didier Savard, who has started down in 36th position. So this was the moment Jimenez the front end snapped to the left and put him on the kitty litter. And then, of course, with the new debris model here on the iRacing service, as soon as you dirty those tyres, it brings you back into real life with a bump. And then we have the moment here going into the pit lane, just locks up, just overcooks it, bit too much momentum going into pit lane. And there's been a moment for Guinness Carriaval and Austin Baldwin towards the back end of the field. Carriaval now down into 31st, could look to possibly lose a position to Oscar Artinano very shortly. Here's the replay for the 313 from Spain and goes into the final corner. Oh, Rover rotates and bang, gets a wallop. And the car that hit him, I think that was Austin Baldwin, loses the front nose cone and front wing in the process there, Biggles.
Yep, it's easier done than said at the end of the day, unfortunately. These cars are super light, and you get a little bit of the bump there, you get into the loud pedal, the rear end slips around, and bingo. Unfortunately, You're in the middle of the racing line and nowhere else for some of the other cars to go.
Yeah, well, good to see Thunder Valley Racing saying new to the series, so go Andy Flint. Samantha Matthey saying, "Hi guys, I'm here to watch Sean Pulsifier." Where's Sean at the moment? Currently up 10 spots at the moment, Samantha. Started in what was set to be 38th position and now is up to 28th at the moment.
Whoa,
so there he is, the triple 5. Yeah, someone's had a big old code brown just then through shot. That was Carriaval, Guinness Carriaval again, I believe. As we are close to hitting 1/3 distance, Bart-Jan van der Laan is closing in on Baldwin, Austin Baldwin, who's got the Buc-ee's livery. The biggest truck stops that you can find in the United States. They're basically like mini supermarkets, from what I hear. I've never been to Buc-ee's, but seen a lot of videos about it on YouTube. Meantime, at the front end of the field, Lee Aberdeen is doing a sterling job. Austin Baldwin, do not go through the kitty litter, please. Lee Aberdeen Your countryman is doing a fantastic job. Started from the outside of the front row, and then after Jimenez's unfortunate demise on home soil, dropping him down to nigh on stone dead last, Guinness Cardiaval has gone into the pit lane, I'm afraid. And here is the battle between Rob Tilbury and Jakub Olejewski. Olejewski up 2 places from 5th on the grid, running a consistent P3, and is keeping that gap to Tilbury very, very honest indeed. It's less than 0.3 of a second as they power out of Lorenzo once again. And on to the start-finish straight. So 1/3 of the distance completed, 2/3 still to go. Robert Tilbury did have the fastest lap, but Yunus Amal, the Moroccan, in 4th position, who is closing in on the pair of Olejewski in 3rd and Tilbury in 2nd. Makes it a 3-horse race for P2. Sevillano being closed in on by Joseph Lucas in the number 79. The Floridian, who's moved up 5 spots over the opening 10 laps and is closing in on the Spaniard in front. Then in front of Sevillano, you've got Clark Williams. Then Luca Varani, who's already up 4 spots from 17th on the grid, now currently runs P13, having a little bit of a 2 and 8 with Jeremy Hagenauer for quite a few laps until the 147 from France got through on the driver from, according to iRacing, from Switzerland. So don't let the name fool you. But Luca has been a big part of this series, which has been going on for 22 years. Both a little bit of a mistake there from both Tilbury and Olejewski there, Biggles, because they are really, really pushing quite hard at the moment.
Going to buy Tilbury a little bit of breathing space because Jacob's been absolutely staring down the gearbox, that number 20 machine, for some time right now, as Lee's got that little bit of breathing space of 1.1 seconds, but that's starting to drop down a little bit. Austin Baldwin has made a little mistake as well too, and that's Austin Baldwin down in P30. I think he's had a moment. We'll quickly have a look at that before potentially a P2 overtake. I can't quite see anything of Austin there. Has it gone deep into lost it in the corner? Yes, there's your Buckies. Mate, further back, a little bit of midfield action here. You can throw a blanket over.
Yeah, Jeremy Hagenau's just lost 2 spots. Well, he lost a position to Luca Varani. Clark Williams has got through. So has Sevillano. Lucas is trying to get through on the French driver in the 147. Well, Sean Pulsify's brother Scott is in chat. Welcome, Scott, to the show. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing at the moment. But now the 3-way scrap over 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Tilbury makes a bit of a mistake. Olejewski looking for the opportunity to capitalise on the Australian. And the Polish man right on the rear diffuser of the number 20. As now they go into the sweeping corner once again. Just keep your eyes on the Moroccan behind. Yunus Amal.
Yep.
And that battle is less than 0.6 of a second at best. Yunus Amal started 7th, currently P4, as they head into the final couple of corners, into Criville, Ferrari, and now into Lorenzo. So Olejewski could get the run on Tilbury coming out of the final corner. Tilbury using the outside curbing, and then a little bit more. Olejewski in the slipstream across the stripe into turn 1 here at Expo 92. Olejewski backs out of it. The thing is, they've got some back marker traffic to deal with, which quickly gets out of the way. And so Lee Aberdeen's lead was at its lowest, just under 1.1 seconds. It's now gone up to 1.4, maybe 1.5. And then, well, when these three start to really intensely battle, keep your eyes on the 82 from Spain, Adrian Fernandez Centurion. Jeremy Hagenau's dropped it. Got front nose damage, and the Frenchman's run has come to an unceremonious end. Matthew Gracie from Modern Racing Prince GP gets up the inside. That, I think, might have been... Well, you got Tony Jimenez, whose comeback drive is really showing some good pace here. Jimenez running in the 1:29.1s. So led the opening lap, well, led for most of the opening lap until he binned it. Andy Flint has made up 6 places. Jonathan Gazzola up 6 places. Alexis de Klerk up 7. Ben Goyette, the Canadian, started down in 27th position, now up 9 spots and currently rounds out the top 18. Matthew Gracie up 12 from 33rd at the start. Another few drivers have made up double digits worth of places gained. Dorian Arroyo from 34th to 24th. Didier Savard from 36th. Jeremy Hagenow with that front end damage. No surprise there that the 147 has pitted. And don't worry, Thunder Valley Racing, we are keeping an eye on Andy Flint to watch at the moment. He's closing in on Jonathan Cazorla for that ninth spot at the minute. And still the battles are fast and furious as we expect here in iGPFun with the Super Formula Lights cars, the Dallara 320s, which will also make their debut for Euro Formula Open, part of the support package for the International GT Open that starts its season a little bit later on this year in real life. But Joseph Mark Lucas closing in on Sevillano. The Floridian gets up the inside, uses the slipstream and the side draft, and that is a picture perfect move. But Sevillano will get the inside line for the next left-hander. Lucas is still keeping it high, wide and handsome around the outside, despite the best efforts of the Spaniard to his inside line into the next right-hander. Lucas late on the brakes and gets the job done. Up to 13th now from 21st on the grid. Joseph Lucas is gunning for potentially, if he can make it, a top 10 finish.
Halfway through the field there, side by side through high-speed corners. Absolutely fantastic racing that you want to see, and you're getting it here wheel to wheel. You've got to earn it. It ain't going to be handed over, especially around this track and especially with this talented group of gladiators that we have, and Centaurians. We have a Centaurian out there as well too, as we've mentioned. And the Spaniard's putting up a big fight here at the moment, trying to make his way up for the field as well too. That's the driver that we're looking at right now, of Alex Silvano, if I'm pronouncing that one correctly.
Yeah, well, Sevillano started 11th now, currently rounds out the top 15. Giovanni Celito, in the meantime, the number 91 from Italy, has ended up in the pit lane, possibly with a potential drive-through penalty, or maybe has suffered some damage. But the battle for P2 really heating up. That has become a quintet of drivers with
the fans.
Yep, so there we go for those Andy Flint fans, including Thunder Valley Racing out there in chat. Up 6 spots now, closing in on Jonathan Cazorla in the number 73. This is the battle for P9. Then 1.7 seconds up the road from the Spaniard is Stefan Dodra from the Netherlands. Simon Fessi up 3 spots from 10th on the grid, currently rounds out the top 7. Ludovic Consant in the number 22 sits in 6th. New fastest lap of the race, Adrian Fernandez Centurion, 1:27.927. Great on board here from the airbox of Andy Flint for Scuderia Racing Forces, and the number 13 representing the good old Stars and Stripes. We are past halfway in this 30-lap race, just under 133 kilometers of racing. Dramas for Dorian Arroyo and Theodor Tomov, and also Didier Savard and Arroyo in the barriers. That is Tomov from Bulgaria, who has dropped down, had to safely rejoin. Let's have a look at what happens here. And I think it was the case that, Arroyo. Oh, well, that is Tomov on his own, rotating it. Didier Arroyo, I'm wondering what happened there. Might have lost it on his own, or was that wasn't Arroyo in front? Tomov thought, oh, well, I'll dive to the inside to avoid. Over-rotates the car, rolls back, and Arroyo clatters into him. He has nowhere to go. Oh, dearie me. That is just how quickly. And I think in some respects, Tomov will probably be told by Arroyo, man, you didn't hit the brakes. You should have stayed where you were, and the car just rolled back. And that's one of the things, when you over-rotate and you lose the back end, sim racing etiquette dictates that if you are the driver that spun, you should, hold your brakes. Just don't let that car roll forward or backwards. And it was camber towards the inside line, and Tomov went back. Arroyo went, right, I've got nowhere to go. Brace, brace, brace! Like an airplane having to make an emergency landing. And Arroyo just ended up in the barriers and then ended up in the pit lane as a direct correlation. And has not rejoined, it looks like. Denis Cornu, who started down in 9th place, now rounds out the top 30. Guinness Carrioval has now rejoined and is about the best part of nearly a lap and a half down on our leader, Lee Aberdeen. And still, well, things are really heating up in the battle for this second position, because Lee Aberdeen, looking for another win on the bounce here in iGPFun Season 1 2025 here at round 8, has got a considerable lead over countryman Rob Tilbury. But here we see the onboard from Tilbury. There's Olejewski, and you can see how close the Polish driver is.
Don't back up.
And, well, Richard Van Veen has just dropped it. Oh, yeah, well, there's something I could swear in Dutch right about now about that. But Richard, I think, might have just over-rotated, turns into the corner. Curbing. Oh, just loses it on the gravel, and he was hard on the brakes. And that was nearly a big old code brown and brace and hit the barriers right there.
Andy Flint's been putting some banker laps at the moment of personal best, 128.4. Jonathan up the road, he's been hunting down, is 124.46, so they're close. It's a little chipping. One thing to catch, another thing to overtake, and we certainly know that with Robert Tilbury holding off that massive attack there from Jacob and Giannis.
Yeah, so at the moment, well,
and Adrian
so far,
party. Oh, sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, Adrian Fernandez has made it a quintet battling over second place. So, well, Lee Aberdeen looking for his 5th win of the season. Jesper Sandström, who is a known quantity here in iGPFun, has won the season opener at Barcelona. Then we went to VIR, where Lee took the win in the full of the run around the full course. And then it was Jesper at Watkins Glen, Phillip Island, Lee. Then it was Mugello, Lee took the win again. Monza was Jesper, and then at Interlagos last time out, a favourite track for a lot of us, as Jan van der Lam has pitted. Unfortunately, might have had a bit of a drama there. The Scandinavian started 14th, now down in 28th position. What happened to Bart this time? So he's going to turn it in. And is he going to be a bit too heavy on the loud pedal? Yes, he is. Oh, well, at least the good thing was he didn't end up in the barriers. So, but now Olejewski and Tilbury, the battle lines have been drawn. Amal and Centurion very much in the mix. They've got to be very, very careful here. Even though the likes of Ludovic Rasson, Simon Fessi are not that they're about in total 3.2 seconds behind Fernandez in 5th. There's an opportunity that whilst this quartet continues to battle, the drivers behind will get quicker and quicker. Simon Fessi has just put in a personal best of 28.223. Hassan a mid 28.7. Centurion a mid 28.6. Amal a high 28.5. Olejewski a low 28.7, and Tilbury a low 28.6. Joseph Lucas has just dropped it in the meantime and has dropped down outside of the top 15, as we are fast running out of laps here at the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto, and still Olejewski's really trying to put the front on. Yeah. Muchas gracias, señor.
Gracias. Yeah, Robert,
gracias.
Is under massive pressure here. You'd think I lived in a Spanish-speaking country for almost 15 years. So you'd think I'd know a little bit better than that. But Andy Flint still behind there. Jonathan, and just to let you know, and you're seeing in the timing tower, the battle for P9, there's a battle brewing for the French crew as well too. Simon Festi and Racon going for it too for now. So there's battles absolutely everywhere. But still, Roberto is holding on. There you go. I'll give you a Spanish name there, Roberto. Seeing you're in España.
Roberto.
Roberto,
but
yep,
speaking of Spaniards, Tony Jimenez now is back up to. He's in the top 20 now. He's just got past Ben Goyette from Canada. So Tony Jimenez, who started from pole position, well, he's trying to do his best top gear from the rear impersonation, does the SRP racing team driver. Jonathan Cazorla in 9th position at the moment in the number 73, has made up 6 places. So is the man behind him, Andy Flint. And Flint is giving Cazorla a little bit of pressure from behind, we are fast approaching the final third out of these 30 laps of racing here at Jerez. 132.6 kilometers total distance, which is around about 81 miles, give or take, if you want to do the for those people that don't know what a kilometer is, as the meme goes, well, what the is a kilometer. I'm not going to shout it out on air because we don't do that here. Alexis de Klerk has just gone off track ever so slightly in the number 28, currently running was P12, but has dropped behind Bahadin Ayan in the number 30 car. And Alexis de Klerk now is possibly going to lose another position. Sevillano gets through rounding outside on the approach into Lorenzo. So at this point, the Spaniard in the number 88 for Hydro Racing Forces started 11th, now gains another position to move up to 13th, has dropped 2 spots. Sean Pulsifier, Didier Savard, they've both gained 14 spots apiece, so both representing the land of, O Canada, or the land of the maple leaf, if you want to be specific with regards to your flag nomenclature. But Centurion trying to go with wheel to wheel with Amal. Oh, they nearly clash wheels on that place. So Fernandez and Amal, they've dropped a little bit further behind. So Olejewski does not really have too much pressure from behind unless Amal picks up the pace and closes in that 0.8 of a second gap. And you can see that with all the gravel that Tilbury's putting onto the circuit, it's really causing dramas. You can actually see them being thrown up in front of the other drivers. So once they come in at this rapid rate of speed into Lorenzo, but it's going to be a case that if we've had someone beached off of the end of the final corner.
Oscar. Not
too sure. That was Oscar Artinano in the number 37 for XPD Racing. Currently, well, let's see what happened to Oscar. He's got some pressure from behind, and then, well, is it an assist or does he over-rotate? He hits the AstroTurf curbing, rotates on what is effectively the penalty lap loop on the circuit and rotates all on his own. But yeah, Olejewski and Tilbury have been battling out all race long, and Oswald Zera 14 says, nice race to watch, should have a Brazilian driver. Well, if there's any Brazilian drivers out there, come and join the league. You're more than welcome to. We have people from Australasia, we have people from Morocco. The UK, we have Morocco, so MENA, so Middle East and North Africa. We have Spain, we have the Netherlands, we have Mexico, with courtesy of Dorian Arroyo, represented in this league. Mexico. Yes. Mexico. Considering the fact that my colleague was stationed, where was it again? Was it Peru, Panama. I think, for quite a few years? Panama, that was it. Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba. In Cuba, amigos. But Andy Flint still, well, there's a possibility that Andy Flint might, by the end of this race, if he gets past Jonathan Cazorla, there could be an opportunity that Andy could go off to Stefan Dodderer in the 00 in 8th place. So there's an opportunity, Thunder Valley Racing, that your man in 10th place might get P8, might even get as high as P7. You never know, but there's still plenty of there's still time to go. But corners and laps here, Biggles, are fast running out. This is a fast-paced circuit here at Jerez.
Absolutely, some fantastic racing that we've seen. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe if you're enjoying the action. Support these drivers, support this fantastic racing league that's been around, as I said, since the wheel was invented. Well, not that long.
But 4 years ago.
About as long as Alex has when Alex used to take a horse and cart to go to school.
Giddy up, in the words of Jerry Hand. But in the meantime, battle for P4 still heating up. Robert Tilbury has managed to gap Jakub Olejewski a little bit here. The gap is about 8.5 of a second between Amal and Fernandez Centurion. Sevillano's done a Gymkhana impersonation and has lost it in the final couple of corners. So let's see. He was chasing down, I think that might have been Bahadin Ayan, and through the corner, too hard on the loud pedal, and there she spins. And yep, goes, right, I'll just light up the rear tyres
Good recovery.
And jobs are good.
Once you get back on that one, it's not always easy to do. You can go back around again and drop a couple more places. But this is still where it's been absolutely heating up. Please let us know out there. I know we're getting to the dying stages of the races, but I want to make sure that levels are all good because Alex and I are back in the booth in this and iGPFun, and I haven't done this for a little bit. I'm super stoked again.
Same here.
And I want to make sure that those levels are good. So at least we can perfect it for next week.
Well, I'm actually listening at the moment as well, and the levels sound fine to me.
Excellent day. All right.
So there we go. We can monitor it ourselves, my good man. Right, Ben Goyetz has got past Richard Van Veen for 18th place. So the number 36 from Canada for Modern Racing Prince.gp. Clark Williams has got the now recovering Alex Sevillano on his rear wing. And this is the battle for 15th place. Sevillano gets a real rate of speed coming out of the corner. And is it going to be... Oh, it's going to be a right-hander coming up here. Sevillano pulls to the outside. And while they're still swapping positions again, it's like musical chairs once more. Up and down the order, folks. There's been so much battling. These guys, it's a bit like Gary Paffett and Timo Glock going wheel to wheel for about the best part of 50 kilometres in one race at the DTM one particular year. I think that was 2018 when Mercedes made their last works team effort within DTM. And that year, Sevillano just kicks up the gravel straight into the face of Clark Williams there, just to add insult to injury, saying, I'm not just going to overtake you, I'm going to throw a little bit of debris your way. And look at the front visor.
I can imagine as well, too, those stones being flicked up at your helmet at 200 kilometres an hour won't be feeling too good. Of course, thankfully in this virtual world they won't. But could you imagine in real life that would just be punishing sometimes? You come off there with your helmet just completely, couple of little dents in a little chipping, cosmetic dents, let's say, on there. You would have seen that because you do real life commentating.
Mate, I've literally seen, what was it in my karting real life commentary? One driver had brought this brand new liveried race helmet with them, and it wasn't gravel, but let's just say the track was considerably saturated. So the grass had turned into mud underneath, ended up getting contact into the opening corner on the first lap of the first heat, and then got spun 180 degrees backwards the wrong way into the grass, then started to churn up the mud with the rear tyres, and it just went everywhere. And all of a sudden I've seen this driver with a brand new sparkling race helmet pull into the pit lane, and the guy is caked from head to foot in mud and grass. And I remember him saying, I watched the stream back, and you said about my nice new race helmet. Well, you jinxed me. I said, look, I wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time, was I? Fate of circumstances, not commentator's curse, as a lot of you people out there believe. You know, we could talk about people and something might just happen. In the meantime, Amal is being pressurised by Fernandez Centurion for fourth spot, as again Tilbury kicks up the gravel towards Olajewski. We are this and 4 more laps to go before we hit checkered flag. And Olajewski is really starting to push, so is Fernandez. Amal's just trying to keep the car as wide as humanly possible. And more to the point, Fernandez Centurion is doing a really, really good job, just not putting a foot wrong, whereas, you know, Amal's just trying to build a little bit of a gap. But in the meantime, Centurion has been a little bit quicker, about half a tenth quicker, as both Tilbury and Olajewski are kicking up the gravel backwards, particularly the Polish driver in the 57, rounding out the top 3. But these two, it could be a grandstand finish. Olajewski pulling to the right-hand side, maybe trying the old Nigel Mansell dummy coming out of Lorenzo. He's going to get the run coming out of the start-finish straight. Tilbury puts the right rear wheel into the gravel. Olajewski in the slipstream pulls the left-hand side on the run down to turn number 1. Will he finally break the deadlock? Olajewski, high wide to the outside, runs a little bit deep and goes through the gravel. Oh, that was such a shame for Olajewski. And Tilbury just went, yeah, mate, you're going to have to do better than that to try and pass me, fella. But well done on that attempt by Jakub Olajewski, because I think he knew that was going to be his possible last chance. However, there's still just over 3.5 laps to go, and it's closing in between the second, third, 4th and 5th. The gap between Tilbury, Olejewski, Amal and Fernandez Centurion is around about 1.3 seconds. Ludwig Hanson for UnityRacing.fr closing in on Simon Fessi just in front. Of course, these two drivers have been fighting all the way through the race itself. Tony Jimenez for SRP Racing Team started on pole, now back up to 17th spot. Simon Fessi in the number 29 being closed in on by Hanson, but also Dodra and Cazorla and Flint are closing in. So as we come to the crescendo, the wonderful ending of this race here for iGPFun Super Formula Lights round 8 here at Jerez, there are battles for 2nd place and there are battles for 6th.
Go for it, Sufa. Now, though, after Alex got past, Clark wants to take that place back, but going off into the kitty litter won't help the exit speed there. Tony's further down the field there. Will Tony have enough time? I don't know. He's absolutely flying, but it's one thing, again, to catch. The two French men are at it again, but we got a big collision!
Tilbury and Olejewski's lost the front nose cone. Disaster for the Polish driver. Olejewski and Tilbury's come to a stop. He's having to wait to rejoin, and he's put return to garage. It was going to come to a head. I knew that Olejewski would be closing, but then all of a sudden, Tilbury is in the pit lane. I think that's his race done and dusted. And what would have been an Australian 1-2 has been quite literally thrown to the wolves, so to speak, as the Bucky's liveried car has once again gone around and Robert Tilbury has been in the pits. But the replay of that will be telling everything.
If I can find it.
And Jakub Olejewski. Yeah. You know what? I really do want to have a look at that replay. I think both you and I will be cringing very shortly. But Yunus Amal and Adrian Fernandez Centurion round out the top 3. So Robert has lost it. Bang. Jakub's got nowhere to go. T-bones him. And that was Simon Fessi, I believe, possibly, that might have just gone through shot. And yeah, Robert sustained a big old amount of damage. The thing was, Jakub had nowhere to go on it. Jakub had nowhere to go on that. So you look, spin, bang, T-bone, and Yunus Amal was the one that actually ended up cutting the track. Jonathan Cazorla's gone into the pit. So has Andy Flint. There's been further drama. Jakub Olejewski in the pit lane. Andy Flint, Jonathan Cazorla are in the pit lane. White flag is out. Lee Aberdeen.
Had a crash, yeah. Let's have a look real quick there.
Oh dear, it's going to be in front of him. It's going to be in front of him. Oh no. This is going to be 3 wide. And Andy just gets caught up in the crossfire. That was Jonathan Cazorla being ping-ponged across the start-finish straight. But Lee Aberdeen has kept his powder dry. He's kept out of trouble. And very shortly we'll be going on to what is effectively the white flag lap, because we're on lap 29 out of 30. Lee Aberdeen started from the outside of the front row alongside Tony Jimenez, and get this, with all that pandemonium that happened in front of the Spaniard, Stefan Dodra now in the pits. The carnage has happened not just at the beginning of the race but more towards the end. White flag will be in the air this time for Lee Aberdeen as he comes out of the final corner. One more lap to go for the race leader. On to lap 30 out of 30. Lee Aberdeen heads into Expo 92 at turn 1. And here's the drop. Well, this is Jakub Olejewski. Yeah. He just, no front aero on that car. That was no bueno, as they would say. And then, this moment here, Jonathan Cazorla, we're going to get a rewind here. So it's going to be coming out of the final corner. Now, that was one of the French drivers. And, oh dear, Jonathan Cazorla just gets pinched. And it was just like Andy Flint just went, I've got to go for it, I've got to go right, and had no other alternative. Richard Van Veen trying to get through, and does get through, going on to the final lap, ahead of Ben Goyette from Canada. But Lee Aberdeen has done exactly what he needs to do. He has put in a masterclass here at the Circuito de Jerez and Angel Nieto, the MotoGP variation, and is very closely about to curtail what will be his 5th win of this 8 rounds so far, with 4 to go. Lee Aberdeen, well, it's been a superlative, amazing, outstanding, awesome drive as Lee Aberdeen powers out of the final corner. The Australian from second on the grid didn't get pole, but will take the win here in the Spanish countryside by the best part of 3.5 seconds. Unity Racing's Yunus Amal and SRP Racing's Adrian Fernandez Centurion round out the top 3. Simon Fessi in 4th ahead of Ludovic Hasson. Luca Verani takes 6th from 17th on the grid. Bahadine Ayan, Alexis de Klerk, the Welsh wonder Eddie Amos comes out of the final corner, and he will be ahead of Clark Williams from England, who will take 10th place. Tony Jimenez from 1st to stone dead last to finish 11th ahead of fellow Spaniard Alex Sevillano. Jakub Olejewski is actually in the pit lane, so will not factor in. That is going to be a bit of a hurt locker for the Polish driver. Richard Van Veen and Ben Goyet round out the top 14. Matthew Grace is going to come out of the final corner now in the Modern Racing Prince GP car, the 707, representing the Stars and Stripes. Started, get this, 33rd on the grid. Finishes 16th. Tedor Tomov, the Bulgarian, finishes in 17th position. We've had a few other, and for those Sean Pulsifier fans out there, qualified 38th and last, and finishes 20th. Biggest mover of the night today. Well done to Sean. And then we've got Giovanni Celito, John McKenzie, and Sean Pulsifier rounding out the top 20. Austin Baldwin started 35th and finished in 21st ahead of Dennis Cornu. Guinness, Carlo Yaval and Adam Talsma round out the top 24. Real shame for Andy Flint, retired with 2 laps remaining after that start-finish line incident. Stefan Dodra, Jonathan Cazorla, Robert Tilbury, Oscar Artinano, and Didier Savard round out the effective top 30. Quite a few retirements in that race. But more to the point, well, Dean, what can you say about that race? Lee Aberdeen, faultless, spotless, kept his powder dry, with all the chaos and carnage happening behind him, picks up his 5th win of the IGP 2025 Super Formula Lights Season 1 Round 8 here at Jerez.
And there's your results currently at the moment. So wouldn't we expect the Moroccan just hovering back there in that P5, P6 position, battling it out with those fronts, and then of course the drivers coming together, sees the opportunity and steals the P2. Fantastic. And Adrian Fernandez Centurion, who was also one of the Spaniards here, getting 3 places in that final photo. Step of the podium. There's your rest of your field.
Yeah, so Aberdeen takes the win. 5th win of the season out of 8 so far, with the spoils of victory being shared so far over the opening 8 rounds between Jesper Sandström and Lee Aberdeen. And what's more, Yunus Amal hits the podium for the first time this season. Adrian Fernandez also does the same as well. Tony Jimenez takes the fastest lap of the race, which means we have so far pole positions. Okay, get this. This is an interesting stat for you folks at home. Mackenzie Roon took the opening pole position at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Then it was 4 in a row for Lee Aberdeen. Jesper Sandström took the pole at Monza. Then Lee responded with pole position back at Interlagos. And then Tony Jimenez became the latest name added to that. And more to the point, Tony Jimenez also took the fastest lap of the race. So the fastest lap so far, Barcelona and Jakub Olejewski. Then VIR, Lee Aberdeen, who's done another fastest lap this season back at Mugello. Jesper Sandström at Watkins Glen. Dennis Cornu at Phillip Island. Brent Ruiz at Monza. Jesper's the only driver so far this season to take 2 fastest lap, and you add Tony Jimenez to that one. But there are the results. Lee Aberdeen, Yunus Amal and Adrian Fernandez Centurion round out the top 3. Your top 3 here for round 8 of iGPFun Super Formula Lights League Season 1 2025. And, well, the madness of iGPFun continues as in 7 days' time we head to good old Montreal in Canada to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for round number 9. After that, we'll have the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari at Imola, the Red Bull Ring, and then Circuit Zandvoort will round out the season in about 5 weeks' time. Thank you so much to everyone tuning in here on the JP Broadcasting Network for coverage of iGPFun Super Formula Light Season 1 2025 Round 8 at Jerez. Coming up, well, early tomorrow morning UK time, we'll have our next round, which funnily enough will be the Bigger Brothers as Sim Racing for Simpletons Winter Season Round 4 for 2025 returns to this very circuit. This has been a JP Broadcasting production, and you've joined myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Dean Biggles over the last hour. Thank you so much for tuning in. Race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Good night for now.